I can see it. Do you mind?
Hello, hello, ladies, and welcome to Insaka Talk Show. We are so happy that you're able to join us today. Please pardon my voice. I have a cold, but in the studio with me, I have the lovely Winnie Musonda from New Jersey. And
Hello. I think was not Texas twice to someone because
yeah,
everybody's battling something.
yeah.
But
And
it's a happy Sunday, We just have to live
mhm,
with it.
glad that we could make it. And
Yeah.
we have the beautiful Irene White from Chicago. How are you doing, Irene?
I'm doing fine. Actually, I'm the only one that came back not sick. So speak for yourself, Miss Winnie. I'm
Oh,
not sick. I'm knocking on wood, though.
you better start knocking on that wood.
You better knock it hard. And you know what's funny though? She was the one who was coughing when we were together.
Yes,
Remember?
yes, yes.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's like maybe no, what definitely when you're just like maybe trying to boost it out, but we all got sick because everybody's sick.
You know what?
Vanessa, Mate, Priska, most of the people that I know, they are coughing.
Everybody, there's something going on. I think it's airborne.
Mm.
So thank God it's not deadly, but we still have to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Drink a lot of vitamins, drink a lot of water, and just rest. It's
Yep.
very important. Yeah.
So, guys, we have a very, very interesting guest in the studio with us. And we're just hoping and praying, keeping our fingers crossed, that the internet is going to hold up so he can tell his magnificent story and share his journey with us. But before we do that, we have some trending topics that we want to share. So, to get us started, we would like to bring out the trending topics in Zambia and around the world. The first trending topic really is we have a missing person.
Yeah.
We have a missing person in our midst, and this young lady is a Zambian lady married to a Caucasian man here in the United States. According to the statement from her family, which I'm going to read because I don't want to mess it up, her family reported her missing. Um, Actually, her husband reported her missing about last week, sometime last week. But in actuality, she went missing um, sometime in September. So now there are questions swirling around that they had gone to Las Vegas and then she went missing around the 16th, I believe, of September. But he did not actually tell the family that she was missing until like a whole month later. So it brings about a lot of suspicion as to, what really is going on. And we understand he is trying to relocate to go to Singapore.
Eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah. So
did you see me? I'm like,
yeah,
Jesus.
it is quite sad, honestly. So let me see. Looking at the statement, this was written by a family representative, Miss Miriam Chombajere, and she said, "I write on behalf of the family as a family representative of Mercy Mbawa, who traveled to the United States of America on 19th September 2022 in the company of her husband, Ron Brown. We never heard from her from the time she left Zambia. Then on the 25th of October, the husband informed us that Mercy went missing on 23rd September. So he just told them on the 25th of October, over a month after she had been missing, and they don't have his address. They only have his phone number.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
and they've been in touch with the man's sister. The sister's name is Kara Brown, and that's all they have. So, guys, if you've seen Mercy, if you've heard from her, if you know any information, please, reach out to any representative, association representative within the United States. Let's make sure that we get our sister found. This is quite sad.
Can I chime in a little bit before we go on this hot topic?
Sure,
Like
honey.
before she was leaving, she didn't like Facebook. She didn't post photos because nowadays we do try post photos, and not only that, this has happened. This can happen again to everybody who's gonna leave, like Zambia or anywhere out of Africa. Make sure you have addresses, everything. Like if my sister's going to Canada or she's going to Qatar, listen, I get the number, I get location, I get everything. I'm like a policewoman. Hey, where? What at what time you landing? I get everything because guess what? You never know what anybody can do. So this can happen to any of us. And this is not okay. You can't be just trying to move out. There's something fishy here.
And the other thing, there's advice to everybody that comes in from abroad. Every state that you go to, there's an association for people from your country. Make sure we do that. When we go to Zambia, the first thing we do is we go to the embassy and give our information so they know we're in the country. It's the same thing as somebody coming into the country. Find out, Google the association, the local association, and mention to the leaders to say, I'm new, I don't know anybody, this is where I'm living. Not that you think something is going to happen to you, but you just want to know that there are people who look like you, who think like you, that can help you when you have trouble. So going forward, it's for everybody that's coming from abroad to make sure you do that.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Guys, we have a lot of trending topics, not to cut you, Irene, but we do have a lot of trending topics and we do have a waiting guest. So the next trending topic that we have, another sad note, Davido's, Nigerian singer Davido, his son drowned last week. Guys, if you have children and a swimming pool, get them trained as early as possible on how to swim. It is really, really sad to lose a child that way, and so many kids die from drowning.
Yeah.
Within
the United States, we're trying to speed up so that we can talk to our guests. I'm sorry to cut you off, Winnie. In the United States, we have trending topics. Our genius Kanye West, he has decided to go on a silent fast.
I can't with Kanye. I can't.
He's a genius. He wants to go on a fast for 30 days. His 30 days is no sex, no drinking, no speaking. He said he wanted to do that. So kudos to you. If it works, it works.
All right. Good for you. Anything else trending in the United States?
I hear that Nick Cannon is has an 11th baby.
Yep.
Okay, so he officially has a football team, right?
Oh, yeah.
Soccer team, as they call it here. So kudos to you. I don't know how many babies you're trying to have, dude, but slow your roll.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So I guess is that it for trending topics, ladies?
Yeah, well, we want to dive into our guests because there's very juicy information that can help a lot of young people out there. Yeah. Let's dive into it.
Yeah. So guys, with that, we're gonna go on our first break, and when we come back, we will bring in our guest of honor, Mr. Samuel Machinshi. This guy is phenomenal. I really hope and pray the internet holds up and we're able to have him on this show. All right, we'll be back.
Do you run a nonprofit organization in the education, health, and human services sectors? Do you need grant funding for your organization? Or do you need help developing programs to help you raise money for your nonprofit organization? At Vibrant Funding, our mission is to connect our nonprofit partners in the education, health, and human services sectors to the financial resources required to achieve their mission. We support nonprofit organizations based in and operating in the United States and Africa. We offer the following services to new and established organizations: program development, donor engagement and retention, grants research and writing. Contact us at www.vibrant-funding.com or email us at info@vibrant-funding.com. Call us at 404-751-6802 to learn more about our services and how we can help you to have an impact on the world. Vibrant Funding, connecting donors and nonprofits.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Before we went on break, we told you we have a very special guest in the studio today. I don't want to mess up his bio, so I'm going to make sure that I read and give you all the details. So our guest for today is Samuel Machinshi. He is a Zambian broadcast journalist with over 15 years of experience. He is a television and radio producer and presenter working on the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC. He has produced and conceptualized programs which have gained listenership and viewership over the years, such as Late Night Conversations with ZNBC Radio 2, a late night chat program, and now the Zambian Genius on TV, on ZNBC TV1, which has won him 2 awards. The Zambian Genius is a program that highlights the potential Zambians in various fields have in terms of innovations. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Insaka Talk Show, Mr. Samuel Machinshi. Hi, Sam. How are you? Are you able to hear us? Are you able to hear us, Sam?
There's a silent, there's a delay.
I'm sensing that you guys have introduced me. That's what I sense.
Yes.
It's crazy out here. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm using 2 gadgets. I'm on my phone and I'm on my laptop.
Okay.
I'm using 2 gadgets.
So we can hear the other one. So maybe we can try to do
my laptop. So I think that we use the phone.
Yeah.
You think the phone is better?
Because we have.
So maybe.
No, let me do this. All right. So let's try the computer. How about that? Are you able to hear us?
I was thinking, I think the phone was better.
You think so? I think it just needs a little time to get out of it.
It's baffling. That's
But our viewers, they know once we have a guest from overseas, we always have this challenge.
Do something about it.
So,
network.
Please pardon us. But this guy has amazing things to talk about. I wish this could work.
Hey, Sam. So are you able to hear us at all? Yeah. Okay. Let's try the phone.
Hoping I win.
I love his resilience. So, yeah, he's like, I'm not giving up. We're going to do this. All right, Sam. I think we're going to stick with the phone. I think we have better luck with the phone. Are you able to hear us?
Now I can hear us.
Come on.
I'm by here. It's network.
All right, let's see who is watching. Priska says, hello, ladies. Hey, Priska, thanks for watching. Get well soon.
We didn't even excuse Priska. Sorry, family. Priska's not able to be with us today.
She is unwell.
Will join us next week. We love you, Priska.
Love you.
We love you. Sorry we forgot about you. We didn't forget about you. I think we're like struggling with this computer.
All right. Well, Sam, are you able to hear us now? Okay, so while Sam is working out the sound and stuff, I wanted to come on here and just say thank you to you, my Insaka sisters, for the support that you provided to me and my family going to Zambia and mourning for my grandma. Buya passed away, and we laid her to rest. I had to travel. It was very difficult, getting home, and that each time I travel, she would always ask me, like, what do you want to find? Nindole fo kujya kani wafika. Ulefaira kakuipikire ko munko yo. Like she would always pre-prep, before I travel. And so going there, knowing that she's not going to be there to receive me and hug me and cook for me, it was very different. But I want to thank you all for the support, including the Insaka viewers and the Insaka family, for all the words of comfort that you provided. So thank you so much for that.
Well, you're welcome,
Nelly. We love you. We're family now, so your pain is ours too.
Yeah. No, and I would say you the same thing. I said it private. I said your grandmother was a celebration. It wasn't like, oh, somebody's dead and we're going to funeral. The funeral itself was a celebration. She was a celebrity in her hometown. God bless her soul.
Oh yeah, that's
beautiful to see that.
Yeah, Vanakulu people, because she embraced everybody. So we called her Vanakulu people. Yeah, it was indeed a very big celebration in the hometown for sure.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, Sam, are you able to hear us now?
I think, I'm on my laptop now, back, hoping that it's going to hold on. How are you again, and how are you to the people that are watching us around the world? The network doesn't seem to favor me, and I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that we can have a conversation, even just for 10 minutes, smooth without any interruption. It's very terrible. I'm trying to switch between two gadgets, the laptop and the cell phone, but both of them seem to be failing me at some point. But I'm grateful that I'm here.
I'm so grateful. We typically have an icebreaker, but I'm so afraid of wasting time that we're just going to dive in. You know what I'm saying? Like, we won't even go there. So before the internet lets us down, Sam, one of the first questions that we wanted to talk about is your journey, right? For those that don't know your story, Sam is a TV or television broadcaster, but he wasn't always a television broadcaster. At some point, Sam was actually working as a construction site worker. And the position that he had was not like a high, it was a very lowly position, right? They call it DACA boy. So we are going to talk about how you came from being a DACA boy to being a well-known TV presenter on Zambia's biggest, broadcasting platform, which is ZNBC. And so that is what we're here to celebrate today, your journey, and to talk about, the hurdles that you passed through and how you overcame those. So to get started, we know, Sam, that you lost your mom at a very young age. And that was the beginning of some of the challenges that you faced growing up. As a boy and then as a young man. And then when you lost your mother at a young age, your mother's relatives decided that, you know what, we are better off taking you and your sister to go live with your grandparents in the village. Now, having been born in the city and then moved to the village setup, how was that for you? Can you tell us what that journey was like?
First of all, I wanted to show off my T-shirt and what's written on it. I don't know if you can see.
It's probably you have to get up.
A little bit? Yeah, there.
Wow,
so Zambian genius. Yeah. So going to the village for, under traditional laws, when the mother dies, the people that get the children are from the mother's side. a matrilineal kind of arrangement from the eastern side of things. My mother was a Ngoni woman. That is what was supposed to happen, but it wasn't to be. According to the stories we heard, there was a little bit of some rejection of the two of us, me and my sister, from this side. Yeah, and then that's how my mother, my grandmother, and my grandfather from my father's side took us up in that tender age. I wouldn't say I would have resisted to leave the city and go to the village because I was a little boy, so I was only being remote controlled by the elders. So it was very easy to go out to the village. And obviously, one of the key things that made my parents, my dad then, to give in easily, obviously, was because I needed to go and start school. Because here in Lusaka, they tried to enroll me into school. It was during the last days where you people, I don't know if any of you did this thing where you have to get into class.
I remember. We didn't do
if you don't
it.
reach, yeah, it was like in the early 90s, should be 92, 93, somewhere there. So they couldn't find a school based on the fact that I was very young. I couldn't touch my ear.
Oh my God.
It was so silly of them doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's how we were easily transported to the village, and there it was easy because the population is not that big, and everyone that expresses interest to get into class, obviously, it was a bonus. They needed some numbers in those schools. So my grandfather enrolled me into school at a school called Chunga Primary School in Kabwe Rural of Central Province. That's where I started my grade 1.
Okay, so you stayed with your grandparents from grade 1 up until grade 7?
Yes.
Okay.
Up to grade 7, yeah, and then I did fairly well because then we had to pass from grade 7 to go to grade 8.
Which
so
was
I'm one of the pupils at this school that did fairly well, and then my grandfather said, I think I'm done taking care of you here, and I can't afford to take you to upper grades. Now it's time that your father takes you up. My dad wasn't a daddy like we daddies are today, fond of the children. To a certain extent, my grandfather thought my father neglected us, me and my sister, because there was no support that was coming forth from him to us. So we used to walk to school without shoes, and this is a distance of over 10 kilometers.
Wow.
To Chunga Primary School. So no shoes, a uniform was a luxury. So at a school, you had to pick a short and a shirt, a t-shirt. Those have to be like your usual uniform. So they don't want you to see in different clothes. So you will pick a short and a t-shirt. Those are like your uniform because you can't afford a uniform. So that's the kind of scenario we were in. And shoes, if you see someone with shoes, you would celebrate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you finish schooling in the Kabwe Rural, or you relocated to Lusaka?
This is where my grandparents now said, since you have done fairly well to get into grade 8, we'll take you to your father now. Whether he's responsible enough or not, you are his baby, so he's got to be responsible to ensure that you go on. So my grandfather personally took it upon himself to get me onto a bus in 1999 to bring me to my father here in Lusaka. And so he told him, I've done my part under difficult circumstances where you did not support me. So now it's your turn to take care of this boy. He has the interest to go to school, so it's up to you to get to take it up. So that's how he left me here with my father and left. And then because my mother died, the moment I came back here, a week later, my father remarried.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. So then my same stepmother, with obviously instruction from my father, that tried to look around for a school for this guy. That's how they enrolled me at Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe Basic School. And obviously Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe is a big name in the political circles in Zambia. Yes. So it's a historical school. And I dig it from the heart. So that's where I started my grade 8 from in the year 2000.
How did your stepmother received you when you got to Lusaka, knowing that your grandfather just dropped you? Were you with your sister at the time?
my sister had remained in the village because we were being kept by different grandparents. I was with my grandfather, who was father to our father,
Oh,
and then she was taken by the grandmother, our grandmother, who was sister to our grandfather. You see the connection?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So in the same village but separately. So we
okay.
were raised like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my
So,
my stepmother was fairly okay with my when she just came in. She had
mhm.
two children already. My
Mm.
my stepbrother and my stepsister. We are still a bit here and there in touch. Yeah. So she took me around the schools, and then I was enrolled at Simon Mansaka Popo Basic School in grade 8.
Okay.
Okay, so coming back now from the village, now you're back in the city, and now
Right.
you're reintegrating, in the city, and how how would you say, that was? What was there like? Did you feel like you had to catch up? Having being lived in the village and then you're in the city, was that like a cultural shock in a way for you coming back to the city and it being educated?
The pressure I felt was to integrate with the guys in Lusaka because these were well up. They could speak the Queen's language properly. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in an area where we were speaking Swaka as a language. I don't
Mm,
know if you guys have heard of anything like that.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, so we used to speak Swaka predominantly in the school arena. There was Tonga, a few
Mm,
Ndebelés here and there. Yeah, so it was a mixed, but predominantly Swaka was the language that we used. So when I came to grade 8 here, to catch up was
mm,
a bit of a challenge.
mm,
But it's very interesting because I did that quite very quickly, and I became a noisemaker suddenly. Imagine
Anyway.
very tiny guy like this, and then I could make noise from nowhere. So how that happened, I don't know. I think it's because I just saw everyone making noise and they're speaking English. So I was fascinated that, oh, so you can be this smart. Then I
mm,
tried to jump in. As I was doing that, it simply picked up and got me there. And
Oh, good.
yeah, quickly
Is that
I started eating it.
the school you went to? Is that where you joined the radio club that made you, like who you are right now? Because I think that's where the interest came, was from that radio fan club. Was that
and-
the same Simon Mansakapwepwe school?
No,
okay.
after grade 9 examinations,
Mm.
I also did fairly well.
Ah, that's great.
I wasn't an A plus student, average.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I went to a private school called St. Stephen's Secondary School. Not a very good school, not a good school at all.
Oh,
For the people that have been to Matero,
Mm,
yeah, there's a school called St. Stephen. I don't know if it does exist now. I
mm,
doubt.
oh
This
wow.
is a school that it was like an upstairs kind of building,
mm,
but then there are bars all over, taverns.
Oh my word.
Yeah, so it's a school that you could only settle for because the options are not there. So my father could not afford
mm,
because his job wasn't even good enough.
mm,
So we couldn't go to a government school, any government schools around. So we opted for this private school, better than nothing.
Wow.
mm.
I had to walk from Chipata compound to St. Stephen's in Matero.
Oh my
That's where
gosh.
I was going
That's a
for
long
grade 8.
That's
distance.
So
a lot.
yeah, it was a long distance, but having come from walking longer distances before,
Mm.
That was nothing.
yeah, it was just a continuation of what we
No,
had
you
started
know
and
what?
done.
We're laughing right now because when you
Yeah,
are in it, I'm sure you'll be thinking and asking yourself what was going on in your mind. Like I would ask you, while walking, what was driving you to go to school? Because I know I would quit. Well, because you're young and you had all this thing going on with you. What was the whole thing that was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to school every day.
good.
Because just
So
walking every day.
mm, my I know that my stepbrother and my stepsister could be watching right now. They were younger then. I was the older one.
Okay.
So both of them were younger than me, yeah, and they probably did not know this. You know, you have these issues where stepmother and stepchildren.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had some issues with my stepmother,
Oh,
yeah, and issues which, if I present to my dad, he will
Mm.
simply rebuke me and shut me up.
That's
I
right.
see.
We see that
Yeah.
happen all the time.
hmm And so when I'm going to school, he never cared.
Mm.
One time he told me, my friend, ngati ufuna osaenda ku school, ngati ufuna enda.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
You know, like he throws it in your
Motivated.
face to say, this is your thing. So it's
Yeah.
either if you want to go, if you don't want, don't go. After
Wow.
all, I can't even pay school fees. Yeah,
Wow.
so it's at St. Stephen's where I went to do my grades 10, 11, and 12 at
Okay.
that not so good school. And everybody really used to laugh at us to say, you
Mm.
go to secondary school. Yeah, it wasn't a good looking school. And everybody that went there, really, we had to just be energized ourselves and feel proud.
Mm-hmm.
And one person that made us feel proud is the principal, the owner of the school, and the head teacher of the school, the headmaster. He used to tell us, you know what, you guys are learning the same syllabus. Don't look at the outlook of the school.
Mm.
Oh,
Focus on
What
what the
you out?
lessons are the same. Yeah,
Mm.
you can do just as good as anybody.
that's
Yeah.
very good
And
that he said.
so, yeah, it is there where I became very active in the debate club and in the press club.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah. And so, because of my involvement in the debate club, I used to be a very active participant. I became debate president at the same school, and we used to do a lot of debates with schools around us and around Lusaka, and various
Mm.
competitions we participated. So well, I could go maybe the whole term without paying school fees. And you know, at a private school, you are kicked out. Even in government
yeah.
schools, then they used to kick you out. So
Mm-hmm.
this the headmaster says, you know what? What is keeping you in our school is because without you on the panel in the debate, our team will not
We'll
perform
lose.
better.
Wow.
We'll lose another stronger link. So we
Mm.
need you there. So I could go the whole term without paying because of my involvement in the debate club.
Amazing.
And
So would
I'm
you
telling
say,
you,
go
mhm.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I wanted to touch on what you're about to say. I said, would you say television and radio was a motivation coming through from what you were doing in school, or people saw that in you and said you can do it? Which one was it, you or your friends saw that in you?
From being talkative, from suddenly becoming a talkative guy in the Queen's language in grade 8, I asked people around to say, you know, people who talk too much, what can they do?
That's interesting.
Yeah, then they said, wow, you can be a journalist. When I
Mm.
told my dad, he just said, you can't be a journalist, you. When
Mm.
I went to grade 10 and I became at least fairly good in those debates, I thought, okay, I think I'm getting there. And gathering a few information, some little research from people, they said, yes, if you want to get into the broadcasting circles, debate will better place you as a good speaker or as a public speaker. And so I picked it up. Yeah. And then after I got uh, acquainted with my friends in school, they are the ones that pinpointed to the Radio 4 fan club now to say, well, there's a club at ZMBC where
Mm.
people such as yourselves, they go there every week, and then you're
Mm.
going to meet with all these top celebrities, and they are going to be talking to you on how to become a broadcaster. So that's how the whole interest started, and that was in grade 11,
Mm-hmm.
2002. By the time I was getting into 2003, grade 12, I had already started feeling like, okay,
This
I'm
is
this
gonna
guy.
be it.
I even tried to get into the print media. There was
Mm.
a newspaper then, a newspaper that used to come out once in a month. It was called the Trendsetters. There was a
Mm-hmm.
magazine and a Trendsetter magazine newspaper. So I applied to become a writer there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that they gave me the response. Okay, you can be trying out some stories. I tried here and there, but the print didn't work out very well for me. So I decided to stick with the broadcasts, the electronic part.
So what happened when you completed your grade 12? Your grade 12. Now you're completed grade 12. So what was next? Because I know you are heading towards the broadcasting, but what happened when just you
Mm,
completed grade 12?
great. So financial difficulties were at the center of my going to school, and the father who really says, if you want, stop. So it's his neglect of me or his not having interest in my school that made me realize if this guy is telling me to drop out at any time, for sure, he might just tell me to drop out. So I just personally took it up. Now imagine when you are going to school, no food, pa break paja umatengako watengako tuma popcorn wanzako wagulako nayo wenda. But
Right.
I never used to have such luxury. At some point, I remember when I was appointed a prefect, I never had a uniform for a prefect. Prefects had blue shirts instead of. So for me to get a blue shirt, I didn't have where to get it from, and my friends noticed, so they bought me a shirt.
Wow.
I still remember the guys, and I hope they are watching. You guys, I still salute. And at some point, I lacked books, just books for writing. My friends again looked around and they said, this guy is lacking in this area. And the guys stood up for me. They bought me hardcover books. And then by that time, those hardcover 40-page books were really something. And they gave me 6 books.
Wow.
You guys, you made a guy out of that guy. Yeah. So, sometimes during break time, people could mock you to say, break zone.
Wow.
Where your friends are queuing up to buy, but you're sneaking out. Yeah. So when I was completing school, then my father suddenly dies again. Unfortunately, this is where now I begin to think, what will become of me? My father was around, yes, but he could pay rent because we were living in a rented house. He's going to pay rent. And then I couldn't go if I got to the village, in fact, we went to do the burial in the village. But if I stayed there, I said, what will become of me?
Right.
Yeah. So after everything in the village, I decided to come back to this same 2-roomed house where my father used to rent. But then again, the question was, how will I pull through? So I just come off high school, and then, this is where we started chit-chatting with my friends and a certain uncle of mine, distant uncle of mine, and he said, you know what, you are a man, be strong. So I have some friends who are working in the construction sites. You have to join them, and I know you can do it. I said, okay, I have no option, I have to do it. That's how I was moved in to go and work at this construction site. So we were general workers. You know what a general worker does?
Yeah.
So we were gotten in as darker boys, helpers of the bricklayers. So we could make the mortar, we could dig trenches. So it was doing anything that's manual. And at that time, we used to get 6 kwacha 13 way.
Wow. Per day?
Yes.
So they would pay you daily?
No. We used to get paid after 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you look at the amount.
What year was that?
That was 2004. Yes. That was 2004. So it wasn't enough to get me to pay the rent. Yeah, but I could keep, and then put it together and pay like that. Then after.
So while you were doing this, construction work, the general work at the construction site, what had happened to that passion that you had ignited while in high school with the radio fan club? What was happening in that area? Had that died at that point, or how did you navigate it?
Never, it didn't die. Actually, it continued. It was at the center of everything. So what I could do, because manual work sometimes, there's what we call mugwazo. I don't know if you guys have heard it.
No.
So you report to work. Then they say, today we have to dig these trenches or the foundation for this house. Maybe they would say 1 meter down, and then they'll say you will dig 5 meters going this way. So you dig 1 meter down and 5 meters this side, but we are not saying you should stay the whole day. So So if you want, you can dig in 1 hour and knock off.
Ah.
So ni mugwazo.
Okay.
Marathon.
Yeah.
Pa.
Yes. So sometimes that's what they used to do. So
see.
today, guys, we're not constructing any house, but we have this piecework. We have these trenches to dig, maybe for laying pipes or something like that. So what I could do on such a day is, if they give us, they measure all those things, I would start immediately. So maybe by 12 hours, I'm done. And the supervisor looks through and says, you are done. I'll knock off and go to ZMBC.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, so were you getting paid at ZMBC where you used to work at the time?
Nothing. It was voluntary. It was because I thought this could lead me somewhere. So,
and how many years did you do this voluntary work?
9 years.
They didn't pay you for 9 years.
And who is this person at ZNBC that linked you to? Because ZNBC is a very big institution, so you can't just walk in there and say, I want to intern there or I want to volunteer. So you must have known somebody. Who is that person that paved the way for you to get in, at least to put your foot in?
I'll say the whole ZNBC. Funny enough. You know what happened was, when we were going to the Radio 4 fan club, when we reached there, we used to do a 1 hour program on radio called the Calling Our Members on Radio 4. So the program was divided into 5 segments, where each segment was 10 minutes and needed 5 presenters. So you needed to be really good to sneak into these 5 guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it's at ZMBC where we had people I consider my lecturers. We used to have famous guys like Herbert Mutavi, Jack Mwale, Kesha Simbewe, the top radio guys, Gordon Mkelawa, Dennis Ilukena. Those guys are the ones that we met there, and they could come through our cinema hall. It's a big auditorium like this where they could come and teach us on how to pronounce words on radio, how to be vibrant. Yeah, so when I reported and with all our friends, when I reached there, I discovered there's only one program that we are all fighting for. I decided to ask someone from the Radio 2 department to say, what else can we do apart from just this program that we're fighting for?
Very
so a friend of mine took me to see one of the senior producers in Radio 2, Gordon Mkelabai. And then Gordon told me, okay, I can't usher you into doing any program. We have a series of programs on Radio 2 that are not having any presenter. So if you want voluntarily, you can do these programs, but you have to see the manager. So I had to see the manager by the name of Evans Nachirove then. And then he said, yes, we have, but we have to try you and see if you can do it. He asked these guys, the Gordon Mkelawais, and said, can this guy do it? Do you think he has? Then he said, yes, I've seen him in the fan club. He can do a good job. Okay, you are going to be his producer. You will be producing the program that he's going to start presenting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the 4 of us, me and my other 3 friends, we branched off the Radio 4 fan club and started doing an independent program on Radio 2, which was 30 minutes every Friday.
What was it called?
Life Today.
Life Today?
Nice.
Yes. So it was a mixed bag. Life Today had 4 segments. We used to have a segment for reading letters. Those days letters were the in thing. People would want to greet their friends.
Yeah.
So we had that. Then we had showbiz. I'm an entertainer, by the way. I'm a DJ.
Oh, okay.
He came first before me. Yeah. So I used to have a showbiz segment. So where I would talk about celebrity gossip and anything, any story that's about entertainment. I used to handle it in there. And then the other 2 are forgotten. Forgive me. It's been a while. Yeah. So that independent program got me separated from the Radio 4 fan club, but I did not stop attending the fan club because that is what got me there. Yeah. So I kept going. And then in 2007, I had moved from the construction site. They moved us to go and work at Trade Kings, one of the best performing companies in Africa at the moment in terms of manufacturing of fast moving consumer goods. So we were moved there because the construction site was owned by the directors of Trade Kings. So they said these guys seem to be very good and they are hardworking. So move them to the main plant so that they can become permanent employees now. So everyone was excited, including myself. I was excited to say, okay, now the pay will increase and I can rent properly. Yeah, but in certain instances where there was no mugwazo at that construction site, I could abscond twice to go and record at the PC.
They are watching you.
Yeah, and then we moved to Trade Kings. It's a full-time job now, so it requires your dedication. So we used to have 1 week night shift, 1 week day shift. Yeah, but then again, when I'm working during the day, I had to go to ZMBC to record Live Today program on a Tuesday.
Okay.
And now they want me at Trade Kings. What do?
Right.
I asked for permission from my supervisor to say, okay, I do these things. Then he said, wow, that's not our baby. You get paid from here.
Right.
So then I said, Papa, singankaleche. And I was put in a plant where we were making boom, the famous boom. I know you guys have tested it.
We left boom, yeah.
Boom and yeah. So when I entered the plant every day, I was a very hardworking guy. When the machines are ringing and just the environment itself, I said, one day I will have to get out of here and do something that I love.
You. That's wild. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I could abscond. I continued absconding. And they kept writing to me to say, and they kept cutting from my salary. They could reprimand me. Yeah. As if that's not enough, when I kept doing that Live Today, my producers thought I became better. So they gave me another program.
Oh, jeez.
All this without pay, still.
Without pay.
Oh, wow.
Added to that again, I started doing the voiceovers, for adverts. For television. They could give me a script, I read. Yeah. And then they said, okay, keep doing it. Never mind. One day something might come out of this.
So what was the holdup, right? We are talking 9 years of you working a job that you didn't really have a passion for, but it paid the bills, versus doing something that you had a passion for that paid nothing. What was the holdup for just having you as a full-time employee, as a paid employee? What was it that was required in order for you to be a paid employee?
Remember, I had just come out of school and had never advanced. I had never gone to pursue any career. Yeah. So I don't blame ZMBC. They needed me to have maybe a certificate in basic, some basic knowledge of journalism. I had, and obviously this is where the world now has got to begin changing. There are certain careers which can be done
right away
without looking at the papers of someone. But again, the journalism world is complicated. You need to have some ethics for you to know what to say and how to say it. Yeah. So I don't blame ZMBC. They were raising me to be that kind of a guy, and I needed to just be persistent and well focused. And these are the guys that shaped me. They became my uncles. They became my aunties. When I did wrong, they could correct me. They became literally my family. So the programs doubled. I did the voiceovers for free. And I looked forward to an opportunity when I can do some trade. So when I was still at Trade Kings, I applied to do short computer courses. But then again, these short computer courses, they said it's a 6 months program. You will have to report in class at 16 hours.
Wow.
So I told my supervisor again to say, I've enrolled. I need to do this study for 6 months, but I need to be in class at 16 hours. Meaning, instead of knocking off at 17 hours, I needed to leave. If you know where Trade Kings is located, along Mumba Road.
I know where that is.
Then I used to do my computer courses at Kenneth Kaunda House along Cairo Road.
I don't know.
So I needed about 45 minutes to walk.
45 minutes because you had to walk.
Walk?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So I requested for that, but it wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't given me. So I only used to attend when I'm doing night shift. So when I'm doing night shift, I could walk from Chipata compound into town to Kenneth Kaunda to attend classes at 16 and then leave at 19 hours. I told my supervisor I'll be coming here late.
Wow.
Then he said, okay, not a problem. So I could report late for work in the plant. And you know, it's very funny. People in the industries, I think they need to change their mindsets. And I think, I don't know if government, you know what we say, Boma Yanganepo.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the internet too. And
Yeah.
too.
So I feel pity for my friends because every time I'm walking into the plant in the night, and these guys, my friends, they could tilt their heads, but why is he coming at 19 hours?
Mm.
And then I could tell them, Nichitako ka school, guys. But why eve kache?
Yeah. Our
But you know,
mindset.
these guys don't want. So the mindset, I think we need to begin to change so that our people in the industries can also be treated well,
Yeah.
can be
True.
given opportunities to go to school.
to
If he
school,
writes that I want to further my studies, yes, they should be able to bend over somehow.
Yeah.
And you
So
say that before you even go further, I would just chime in 1 minute on that particular. When I was in Zambia, I was in Trade Kings. I had a meeting to see some of people for donation for my nonprofit. But God, right? He was the one who was talking to me like a boss. But God. But Dopaja. Mr. Chan, I have a meeting. I have to see this official. Da, da, da. He's like, oh yeah, it's I was waiting outside by Trade Kings. You know how the doors are like that? I was waiting and then I'm busy texting this lady that I was supposed to meet. I'm like, I'm outside. This man told me to stay out here. So, when I pass a maningin pound for God. So imagine if the God is going to treat you like that. What about the bosses?
Yeah.
So
True.
it's not as like what is going on in Zambia. The people that have a little power, they got so much power. So it's very hard for a young man like you who wants to pursue your career to go even tell your boss because
yeah,
they're giving people powers and it's very hard. And what I see from you is like your boss maybe loved you, or maybe he was able to even give you that little bit leeway you can go to school. But other people mindset was like, why are we here? Why ever?
yeah,
Why end up school?
Yeah.
yeah.
So we need
So
to
I'm
change
privileged
the
that
industry. We need to change everything because it's just not about you going working like you said. You did all this work, but you had one passion, and we need to change
Yeah.
it. We all have passion, and we all want to be something. But if we don't have the pursuit, the insight, and the people surrounding you, we can't go anywhere.
yeah. So I'm happy that I stood up to that pressure. I don't know why I didn't develop the fear because everyone was saying, "Ah, bazaka pisha nchito." And then I said, it sank into my head that, and for sure, I was like, Pisha, because every week I'm having to abscond on a Tuesday and on Thursday to
Mm.
go to ZMPC. And finally, now I have this small school that I'm doing. Obviously, was like Pisha for sure. So I already was prepared for anything. And eventually, in 2007, I had absconded for so many days because of the recordings. When I reported to work, they handed me, and I don't blame them. I
Yeah.
mean, each company has a policy, and
Honestly,
you have to follow. So they did well to kick me out. But even as they were kicking me out, they couldn't hear the side of my story. You know, if they were giving me time to explain, maybe they could have said, "Okay, let's meet halfway to meet your demands." But anyway, who am I to call the shots again?
Well, you
Yeah,
know
so I
what?
don't.
If they're still here, they can see where you are right now. They will see the reason why you were absconding, your work schedule. They will see now maybe what you just said that things should change. They should look at their workers and the way they treat them and give them this incentive of saying, if you want to go to school, pick hours that will let you go home a little early,
Mm.
like 7
I
to
want to believe maybe they've improved now because then that was
no.
2005,
the
2007.
same thing.
I'm
I'm
sure
sure.
now if somebody has tried to go to school, maybe they have been given an opportunity. So when I was kicked out, and I don't blame them really because they had to do it anyway. Who has to abscond from work? So when I was shown the door out, and you know when you're kicked out, you don't get money as much, so they'll just give you your leave days, and based on the salary then was not too good. So I went, only paid for a month rent and some food, and then I started thinking, what will become of me now? I had finished that course of short computer courses just to know how to operate a computer because the schools I was going to never had such facilities, and so I was computer illiterate.
Mm.
So I needed to become a little literate with computer packages.
So Sam, with about 5 minutes left before the show comes to an end, we would like to know, at what point now, so with that computer certificate, did that give you the footing in the door to be able to apply at ZNBC and start getting an income from there?
No,
Was that,
no, it wasn't enough. They
wow.
needed somebody that has a journalistic paper. So I went on to, through a friend of mine who was a marketer, somebody wanted someone to advertise their products every week for 15 minutes. So that guy is the one that gave me an opportunity. Every week I could go on Radio 4 to do a program for 15 minutes. They could give me 100 kwacha.
Wow.
So for 3 months, I managed to mobilize enough to do a certificate in basic reporting at the University of Zambia, Department of Extension Studies. So it's that one that now in 2012, June, when an opportunity came, that's the paper I presented, and it was good enough for ZNBC to look at me to say, okay, now here we are. We have both somebody that is charismatic and somebody with a paper. So you know what you're going to be talking about. And that's how I got a part-time job in 2012 back then.
Wow.
That
And
is amazing.
I think you showed us your T-shirt that you're wearing. It means something.
Yeah.
It's called Zambian Genius. Could you
Sure.
kindly tell us a little bit about Zambian Genius, because it's really brilliant?
The Zambian Genius is a television program that I've been doing now from 2018. I just sat down and said Zambians are great. They can do great things.
Like yourself.
So I decided to go out in the compounds and find people who do innovations.
Wow.
And then, so I if you go on YouTube and check out the Zambian Genius, it will pop up. You'll see great innovations that the Zambian people are doing. It doesn't matter their age. It doesn't matter their level of education. I go out, I film them, and I bring them to television. And so far, the response has been overwhelming. We are only waiting for anybody out there that can now be able to pump in some funding to actualize these products so that we can call certain things that people make out there. Zambians can make these ones. So this is where the Zambian Genius was born from.
Wow. Amazing.
Wow. Sam, honestly, I don't even think 1 hour is enough. And I am so glad that
Internet.
we're able to have a conversation.
You guys prayed. You prayed a lot.
I will chime in before Nelly. Before you go in, I just want to ask if anybody wants to hear a little Simon. What would you advise?
Yeah.
Your little 9 years of your age, like your little 9 years old. What would you tell her? What you tell him?
My boy and my girl, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. Follow what your passion is. It doesn't matter how long it will take you. If you are just focused on it, you will get it. It doesn't matter how long it will take.
Amen. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Sam. I do want to show a picture. I have a picture of you and your little girl.
She's sleeping.
She's sleeping.
She's sleeping.
As we said before, you're a dad, and I was trying to find that picture. Sorry, it was somewhere, but I wanted to share a picture of you. You have a beautiful daughter, and you're raising her as a single father right now. We don't have time. Yeah, we don't have
single
time.
dad?
I am. It's a big story, really. Like,
don't listen to this, bro. Don't listen.
Not for too long, though. Not for too long.
All right. Congratulations.
Tell us something.
Don't worry. There's someone now, but in the background.
What is your daughter's name, if you may ask? And how old is she?
Nanette. She's 6 years old.
Nanette? That's a beautiful name.
And we've been the two of us from the year when she turned 1 year, 10 months, unfortunately, that's when her mother died. And since then, we've been the two of us like this. And I haven't let her go anywhere. So she's been my inspiration, really.
That's
as well.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nanette, you have a wonderful father. Sam, Thank you so much for being a blessing to the world. Thank you for your resilience. We pray that anybody watching out there, that, hey, guys, there's hope. I mean, look at everything that Sam endured, and there he is, right? So there is hope out there. So just keep trying, and hope to see you next time on the Insaka Talk Show. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sam. Stay tuned, Sam.
Thank you.